really happened all those years ago when the European Union came from an economic union to a political union. We're here to uncover the truth.
So after World War II, as we can see, with the extreme calamity and destruction of Europe, we wanted to make sure that Europe would not ever see the same situation. So in 1957, under the treaties of Rome, was created a common market in Europe. And this was commonly known as the European Economic Community, which was essentially at its base, was the European Coal and Steel Community, and the first step of federation within Europe as a whole. And then, 10 years later, on July 1st, 1967, the merger treaty created what we call the European Community, which is basically the first predecessor of the European Union. This was a joint coalition of the European Coal and Steel Community, the European Atomic Energy Committee, and the European Economic Community. Then, in 1979, we saw our first elections of the European Parliament, and then in November 1st, 1993, was signed the Maastricht Treaty, and which created the European Union that we know today as the Economic Union.
Thank you for meeting me, Mr. President.
Thanks for the invitation, and I'm not president anymore. That was a long time ago.
It was, but you left an incredible legacy on your part. You brought the European Union from an economic union to a political union, and that was unbelievable.
Well, a lot of people think this is unbelievable, and I mean, you gotta look back when you think about it. In 2010, 2011, I was Prime Minister of Germany. EU was an economic union, and with 27 member states. Well, you gotta look back. In 2010, the EU was economic union, and at that time, or a lot of people give me the credit for transferring from an economic union to a political union after what happened. But actually, I'm just a small player in a bigger scheme game, and I'm just a small puppet of a brilliant mastermind plan.
What do you mean? Can you a small puppet? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, I wasn't the creator of the idea. Actually, in 2011, I received a phone call from my friend, Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence approached you with a plan.
Yes.
So my business associates and I, we approached Mr. Omenhouse because we believed he was a good fit for what we wanted. We wanted a politically unified Europe because in 2011 it was going through a serious financial crisis and we were losing ground compared to other major powers in the world. By creating a political union, we would have solidified power, become one of the largest political nations in the world. So we had better bargaining deals with U.S., China, Russia, other superpowers.
You would have been stronger than anyone.
Yeah, and we became stronger there. But it was a matter of getting there. Our motivation as a business was to get Mr. Omenhouse in power and then nationalize all of our competing firms. He could then hand over the single conglomerate firm to us, and we would become one of the most powerful businesses in the world. Mr. Omenhouse's, his motivations were a little more ideological. He wanted a unified Europe. He wanted a single people where you could have almost unfettered movement of goods, trades, services between each member state of what became the United States of Europe.
But to get the countries to unite, to get people out of the way, how could that possibly happen?
We had to create a power vacuum that Mr. Omenhouse could fill. So if you recall a series of accidental deaths that occurred to various prime ministers of various states of the European Union back in 2012.
So by accidental deaths, do you mean President Hunter's death by polar bear?
Particularly proud of the polar bear. We trained it for 10 years for this mission.
And by President Richard's death, that heart attack?
Yeah, that was poison.
Poison. You passed all the tests of any autopsy that they did.
We bought him out.
No way. What? That is wow. And are you also in Prime Minister Jacob's death by car bomb?
Yeah. We arranged to have him visit a country and together from that, which obviously stayed as an accident.
Holy shit. thing for you to do.
There are a lot of our ex-associates that don't want to see this come out. We'll probably do jail time, but we both agree.
Yeah, we were in power for too long, and now it's people deserve the truth, and now is the right time for that.
You shouldn't have talked.
People need to know the truth!
The world can't handle the truth.